in wherever you are across the globe. Yes, it's us again, the Coffee Talks team, and we have a wonderful session today. So, all the way from Latin America, we have our wonderful youth. Please, so sorry, may I say Alka Patel, if you don't know me, sitting in sunny London, not still cold, and I am a heartfulness trainer and a teacher. Welcome
Mhm.
aboard, team.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan. I am a Heartfulness trainer as well. I am an advertiser and a personal trainer coach. And I also live here in Quito, Ecuador. And I think that's all. Mayra, your turn.
Hey everyone, and thank you guys for having me today. I am Mayra Báez. I'm a communications consultant working with media, nonprofits, businesses interested in building a better world. And I'm also a heartfulness trainer. I'm currently based in Bogota, Colombia, my hometown.
What a wonderful place to be, guys. I mean, what I mean is you've got this, hopefully, you've got the sunshine. So, today's coffee talks, if we could share our first slide, is a beautiful article chosen by the team, The Art of Self Care. Now, during this pandemic, we've all been going through quite a lot of change. This article is from the magazine Heartfulness edition of February. Now, this lovely article was written, well, interviewed by Mamata Venkat, one of our editors of the magazine. And she interviewed Tracy Pat, sharing her ideas and experience on the importance of acknowledging feelings and practicing self care and self compassion during the pandemic and beyond. So, guys, I know you brought this to my attention. I loved it. Would you like to share something you found from this article?
Yeah, sure. So when I read the article, I felt first connected to this sentence, to this quote. It says, when we connect with each other, there is freedom to be ourselves, to love ourselves, and to realize there is healing in that connection. During the last year, I've been experiencing this situation where I am feeling that what I do for myself, I also do it for others. And I've been feeling that self-care is just not like an individual thing. It's a collective thing. Like self-care is a part of collective care, or that's what I've been experiencing with my friends, with my family, and with everybody I've come to know during the last year. Even if I've been here sitting at home, I've had like this very healing collective experience.
I was very interested by this phrase because
Mm-hmm.
it says when we connect with each other, there is a healing process in this connection, and we're able to love ourselves. And also, it could be done the other way. When we love ourselves, when we heal ourselves, we are able to connect with other people. So it's both ways uh, fine.
No, no, absolutely. I agree with you. We are social beings. We humans are social beings. And during this crazy time, we weren't allowed to be. And I feel that we've been taken away from it. We're really now starting to understand this whole connection business. So I know
Mm.
there's another part to the article. Would you like to share? Oh, lovely. Did you resonate with this one?
Yes, this one was very important for me during the quarantine because we were inside our homes. We didn't know how the virus will be outside, so we were in this survival mode. So breathing for me helped me very like miraculous in a miraculous way, reducing anxiety. I mean, I live this thing, so I will share more later, but for me this was so important.
I mean, I remember speaking to you way back, and you said to me this whole anxiety business, and you went through something. I'm really looking forward to having that discussion with you, because I know there's so many people out there that are really feeling this anxiety. But before we move on, Myra, would you like to share about this breathing?
Yes, yes, of course. Like when I read it, I also like had this like deja vu. I faced like as everybody else, crisis before this collective crisis. And I remember that there was some time in my life when I had this, situation with, very high anxiety for me. And when I was trying to figure out what to do with it, because I was not sleeping at all, even before I start meditating, the first thing that came to me was breathing, like being conscious about my breathing. That was the very first thing, because it's such a natural thing to do. That's really miraculous. So yes, that's totally true for me.
Isn't it weird? I mean, breathing is a natural state, isn't it, of our being? But I think we breathe naturally and we don't have to think about it. But I think what this, for me, I think what this means is actually using your will, really control that breathing and bring that anxiety right down, or that feeling of anxiety. I'm not saying you can eradicate it, but anyway, let's move on, because there was a there was something I liked, and I thought, why not share it with you? It says in the article, and guys out there, the article, there's a lot more. We just picked out quotes that resonated with us. And this one, look, it's an opportunity for growth. Any conflict, any challenge, any negative thoughts I have are an opportunity to really look at myself and see what they're all about. Do we really do enough, guys, of sitting back and going, why am I feeling like this? Why am I, being negative and all these? Do we do something about it? It goes back to that will. I mean, what do you think, Juan?
This quote is very, very important to me because during the pandemic, I was able to really take that state that I was not taking in, and I switched from being an advertiser to be a personal transformation coach, and also got my PNL NLP certificate. And it was an inner process, but it was uh, also it was very challenging, but it was very beautiful process inside. And now I am able to see all these dots that made this happen in the past as blessings and not as problems and negative things. It was really amazing.
Wow. So you
Mm.
actually did what this bit is saying. You actually made that change. I want to know more, but I know that I need to invite Myra before we take the slides off. So, Myra, what do you think of this?
This one makes me think of something the first teacher of what we know now as heartfulness used to say. And he used to, Lalaji, he used to talk about suffering as an opportunity for growth as well. And I know we've experienced these in our lives individually. It's something we done intellectually, you can grasp it, intellectually, but it's not up until we live it that we really understand what it means when you go through a hard situation. And if there is some level of consciousness in yourself, you are going to be a different person, like in a more positive way. And for me right now, it's very like interesting, but also like heartwarming to see how we are going through again a collective experience of suffering. And it's heartwarming for me because having experienced, suffering in my life myself, and I found myself as a different person, that gives me hope that we will have a better world after all of this experience.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow, thank you for that. Yeah, and I think I'm going to invite or either of you to read it. Please feel free.
Mhm. Okay, so meditation is important, but I also have a whole toolbox of things.
I love
Mhm.
this analogy, and I actually want to hear Juan. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you mean by this, or what does it mean?
So in my case, I could say by my experience during the quarantine or the lockdown, meditation alone was not something that could take me out of my state. So I had to use breathing techniques. I had to start learning other techniques, or as here the article says, toolbox of things to help um, myself get out of this state. Of course, meditation is the most important part in my day, but I also use some other tools. Like, for example, I started running when we were able to go out. I started doing breathing techniques, pranayamas, a lot of things. So it was very interesting to see these during the lockdown.
So you're saying the physical aspect is really
Yes,
important.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Did your diet, so the way you started to eat, did that change? Did it get better or did it get worse?
Of course, because we were in the beginning. I was not doing exercise, so I had to eat uh, less carbohydrates. I don't know if the word's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I had to eat less things that I was eating when I was doing exercise, because my body will ask. But now that I was at home without doing exercise, I had to change that. But it was an interesting process. I will share a little bit more
Yeah, but
later.
well, you see, you were conscious about it and you had the will. There are people out there don't have that will to just make that change, you know? I mean, I'm going off this, but let's go back. Myra, your toolbox?
So the way I see it, like we have a lot of needs. We have physical needs, we have emotional needs, we have intellectual and spiritual needs. And, we have to fulfill those needs. So that's where our, personal toolbox comes from. And for me, like thinking about this last year, I used to be very disconnected from my body because I led in the past a very intellectual life. And for me, connecting with my body during this time has been like truly extraordinary. Like, being able to sleep better, to eat better, to maybe have a little physical routine. It has been like mind bending for me because I had never experienced such a connection with my physical body. So these little things add up. And it's almost magical how it translates to these other needs in your life. Like if I feel good, I can help others. Like I can also help others to fulfill their needs if I fulfill my own needs in these like very simple but just again miraculous ways.
You're thinking about others, but before we even get there, guys, right? Let's go back. We
Mhm.
all go through something negative or something dark or something horrendous through our lives. Okay. I'd like to touch that subject because I think a lot of the youth across the globe are feeling it. Myra,
Mm.
I'm working with so many different youths in different countries, and you could the conversation is there all the time, and this whole pandemic. So let's go back. I know Juan, you mentioned before this anxiety. Could you share with us what happened? You know how you were feeling at the time, and then did you get out of it? What happened when you got out of it? Who helped you? Sorry, I want to know everything.
I think it was Mayra that said that she was going through a similar process even before pandemic. So this clicked something in my memory, because I've been also through some crisis which caused me a lot of anxiety, but in the past I was not able to deal with. For example, my family went out of Ecuador in 1999, and we went to Venezuela. Then Venezuela, we all know the story there. And at 2014, I had to I left the country to go to Ecuador again and restart things as an immigrant in my country. It was funny because I was speaking differently, etc. So these moments of crisis create stress, anxiety. So I started trying to seek ways of dealing with it. But during the pandemics, during the lockdown, I had to do it no matter what, because in my case, I was jobless. I was, funny enough, my family I lived with my uncle in a 4-bedroom apartment, and my family came to this apartment to spend the lockdown together. And we really had to solve our issues. So it created a lot of anxiety. And I started looking for techniques to take me out of this state. And in my case, I found there is a technique, I think it's shared in the Heartfulness channel, which is a pranayama to breathe with the left nostril. I think it is this video on the Heartfulness channel. And also I found this guy called Wim Hof, and he has some interesting breathing techniques. So, for example, I use in the morning this Wim Hof method, and at night to go to sleep, I use the pranayama that I saw in the Heartfulness YouTube channel. So, I mean, this process was out of being desperate to get out of it, being depressed, having anxiety, jobless, dealing with my parents, dealing with my family in a moment of crisis. It was very interesting because when all these things passed, we were so close. We were, we really forgave all the things that we had, had to take it out of our chest during the lockdown. But then after that, we were able to accept the other, to respect the other, to love each other. It was a really wonderful process.
Mm.
My heart went there. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I'm just going to sit back. Myra,
Mhm.
would you
Yes,
like to share?
yes, yes. Thank you, Juan, for opening up and sharing this with us. Because there's something I've noticed during the last months is that people are more willing to share their struggles, and I also find that very meaningful. So I just add that we have these many things outside of ourselves where we find comfort, where we find security. And many times in life, especially when we are young and when we are looking for this security or this sense of identity, there are many times when we are cut off of these things. Like we go through breakups, we go through, not having a good experience at school or at college. We, maybe lose someone that's very dear for us. And during the past year, I think it's been like way harder. And we are experiencing also great loss, all of us, not just young people. And the thing that comes to me is the experiences I had before. There was, this time when I was going through a very like dramatic breakup, and that fired a situation where I was experiencing a great deal of anxiety. I was not being able to sleep, and sleep is so basic, is so fundamental for our well-being. um, that was the moment when I started to look for a solution. Like, I need to sleep, and that's how I ended up meditating, actually. So what I want to say is that, even if these are very trying times, there is, wisdom that we can harness, um, to make things better, to make ourselves better, to take care of ourselves, to sleep better, to eat better, and to be more resilient. Like, this is no different. Like, basically, I think this is not so much different from what we normally experience. What's different is maybe the scale of it, because it's everywhere. It's a global phenomenon. So we can still use these tools, and this wisdom that we have regarding, self-care, regarding our physical well-being, our emotional well-being, and project that also onto the world.
I mean, Myra, it's such a big topic. Two things that came from that, and as a mother of teenagers, and when you hear the comments, it's not fair. We're missing out on our youth. Okay, I understand you all are feeling it across the globe. There are girls out there going, "Oh, I want to get married, but I can't. Oh, I want to have a boyfriend, but I can't." First thing is, I want to say is, if you don't know yourself, how is anyone else going to know you? So I know we're talking about the art of self care. I know you both mentioned at the physical level, but I'm moving on from that. There is still that art of care within, which will then portray what's out, i.e., your emotional status.
Mhm,
So, my
mhm.
question there is, how does one get to know themselves? I love your smile, Myra. I could hear the ding. So I'm welcome either of you. I'm welcome either of you. Please come. And the question again is, how can you, or how can somebody, one, know themselves?
I think it's a lifelong process. I mean, you can't know yourself till the end of your life because you will be growing. And when you grow, there is a different level of consciousness, there is a different you. And you're all, I mean, in my case, I'm always amazed of new things that I could learn, new things that I discover within myself. But for sure, this inner process is so necessary because during the pandemics, this is the other part that I wanted to share. It was not only the body, as you said, it was the mind as well. So I've been a heartfulness trainer for 17 years now. I'm going to be 18 in Christmas exactly. And it was a funny story, but I will will not deviate myself from the topic. So during the pandemics, I was meditating. For me, meditation has been the most important thing in my life. I mean, I've been training people, I've been learning from it, I've been learning about the mind, because in heartfulness meditation, it's a meditation that deals a lot with the mind and the heart. So focus on the heart, use your mind as the tool to focus on your heart. And I started years ago, I started following Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys know about him, but he's a success coach or performance coach. I don't remember his title, but he coached Serena Williams, Bill Clinton, a lot of celebrities. So he was talking about the heart. He was saying, be on your mind and you will die. If you are in your heart, you will live differently. So it was so similar to the heartfulness approach. And I was like, oh, I like this guy, because it was something natural for me to talk about the heart, be in the heart. He even does these exercises. Like he says, imagine that you grab a moment from the future where you are at a moment of gratitude, and then you have to put it in your heart and feel it, and he guides you. So by doing this process of doing it with your body as well, it becomes a whole, and it's a very amazing technique or tool that I use in the mornings, because I prime myself, I visualize all these things that I want in my life, and also that I had in my life. For example, gratitude is so important, because I was having this financial crisis, and I was like, oh my God, again, financial crisis. I went through this in the past, and now I am going again with this financial crisis. And I was, reading a lot of people. Ken Honda, for example, a Japanese mentor, let's say, he was talking about gratitude, like appreciate things and everything will flow. And I was like, in this crisis, I was doing everything I can. But I'm mentioning these people that gave me results, because I did a lot of things, techniques, etc. So this inner process of having gratitude, of I started also doing this hypnotherapy with Marisa Peer, which is a very simple process. We think sometimes hypnosis is something that a guy will take you to a state where he could do everything with you, and it's not like that. It's just going into an alpha state in the brain, and there the information is worked in a different way, in an easier way. So then I link this with meditation. When we are meditating, we go to this alpha state as well, and we could go to deeper states. And then I was, oh, in meditation this happens. Oh, here in hypnosis is the same process. And different tools, maybe different approaches, and also results. For example, I noticed that in meditation, what's worked inside ourselves is so huge that it's difficult to do in one hypnosis therapy. And for me, I mean, I've been able to experience it, not only know about it in a course or YouTube or internet. I've been able to experience this connection with the unconscious mind, and know from our global guides, like, for example, Daji was talking about the conscious mind being, let's say, a small river in between the unconscious mind and the superconscious mind, that are like a sea. I mean, so massive, so huge, so big, this conscious mind and this superconscious mind. So it was so beautiful to understand all these things that I thought that in the past it was just related to spirituality. And I was in this, I remember I was in this crisis, and I was like, I don't know if I don't, I was not crying, but I was complaining like, oh my God, 17 years of training people in meditation, and I can't do this as a work, as a job. I can't earn money. And I was angry. And then when I start knowing about these processes outside heartfulness meditation and understanding heartfulness meditation from a different perspective,
Yeah,
I was like
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
silent, because I was like,
And
okay,
that shift in your consciousness, that shift in your consciousness, that's knowing yourself from within. That's the point that I was making. I love that topic. I understand meditation more from a science perspective as well, and that is something really important. But it's not for me to share. It's for Myra to come on. This whole knowing yourself, because I feel, especially now, a message to all the youth: learn about
Mhm.
yourself first before even trying to get into relationships. Thank you, Myra.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Actually, when you came up with these words, these fantastic words, know yourself, I instantly remember when I was a kid, somewhere I read that this phrase "know thyself" was in the entrance of the temple of Apollo in Greece. Um, where the Oracle of Delphi was, and I was I was taken away by that story, because I felt when I was very very young that there was something to it, like know thyself. So I started to look for tools, like what does this mean, like how can I know myself. And when I was younger, I was like, I used to love to make personality tests, and in internet we have like thousands of these personality tests. Right now the Myers-Briggs personality test is like super famous, and it's everywhere. And I went into this intellectual endeavor of knowing myself, like knowing myself psychologically and emotionally, uh, because I felt there was something to it. And years and years went by, and I think I didn't actually learn that much about myself. And there came a moment when I wasn't even thinking about this. And again, it was a moment of crisis, just like this, just like in my scale, like in my little life. I had this moment where I felt put off. I felt, yeah, you know strange for everything that gave me a sense of myself and a sense of identity and a sense of security. Like, I went through these phase where I thought that I didn't have really like a family, or that I didn't have friends, or that I didn't have a partner who would care about me. And in that moment of absolute nothingness, like outside, something very special happened. And it was just that I went inside myself, but not intellectually, but from my feeling. And it was the first time where I put my attention really into myself. And that was not an intellectual experience. And in that moment, I began to know myself, because that's where I found, like inside myself, is where I found who I really am, who I can become, who I am supposed to become. It really does not come from the outside. It's not what my parents wanted of me, really, or what society has shown me to be. uh, we have this really I want to say instinctive and very deep wisdom about who we really are or what we really are. And that's been wonderful. Like for me, it happened through feeling. I've been knowing myself through feeling. And meditation has been really, really important, because when I made the decision to look inside myself, it was literally a night that changed my life. Because I wasn't able to sleep that night. I was totally heartbroken. I was feeling alone. And in that moment I said, like, what are my options? And I chose, like, I was okay, if there is no one else there for me, I at least have myself. So I know I can make this meditation that has helped me to sleep for the past days. I am going to do it now, and I'm going to sleep, and tomorrow is a new day and whatever. But the moment I really turn my attention inside myself, something like magical happened that night. And because that night I found myself, but like my real self. And I'm still exploring it. And I think maybe this life won't be enough to know this treasure inside
Yeah.
myself.
And what, what Juan said, and what I'm going to repeat what Juan said, and what you said is you, you can take time to find yourself, but you're still not finding yourself because you still, it's a lifelong process. But that feeling of finding yourself and knowing yourself, I'm sure, has helped you make life changing decisions. And why I'm saying that is when we use our mind, which we need
Hmm.
to make decisions, do we connect with the heart? Do they have a conversation? I'm a visualizer, so I visualize these two working together.
Hmm.
And I've always known that the mind is needed to make a decision, but it's the heart that's ruling it. But, and where the next part of, and I'm telling you now, we haven't got long, is these emotions. The emotions still get in the way. So I'm aware that you guys have been practicing meditation, but there are people out there that haven't.
Hmm.
Okay. What would be your final words when it comes to emotions? Because for me, that's the most important thing that needs to be removed. We allow feelings, but it's these emotions that keep going round and round in the head.
Hmm.
Please share.
Juan, do you want to?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. So regarding emotions, what I've learned during this um, process, because it started, I don't know when it started really. Um, so during the pandemic, I was doing research. I was trying to understand fear, for example. And anxiety and fear are basically the same thing. The difference is that fear is is a is something that could happen, let's say, with real danger. Like if there is a tiger in front of you and you will feel fear because the tiger could kill
Yeah.
you. And anxiety comes from those fears that are like the you maybe don't have money to pay your bills, or you need to do things from your day-to-day life that cause you fear. In the end, it's the same process in the brain as fear, but it's called anxiety because it's towards um, fears that are not, let's say, real, quotation marks. So I understood that this process is part of our survival. So if if we try to neglect or try to avoid emotions or suppress emotions, we're basically going against our nature. So instead of that, what I started to do during this lockdown was to work upon them, and how it's interesting how our childhood is so important, because when you're a child, uh, information comes into your unconscious mind in basically without filters. So I had to work upon some things during my childhood. My mom is a life coach that has been working with the inner child for 20 years, something like this. And she started knowing about that from my psychologist that was using this tool or technique. So going to my childhood, knowing how my childhood determined or programmed myself to go into these places of fear, for example. Um, I, I always talk about this. It's not a secret for me. I really like to open up my life. I lived a childhood with a lot of violence. So my childhood was a childhood of living in tons of fear, a lot of fear. So I feel always paralyzed. I sometimes when I was confronted by this huge fear in some situations in my life, I was not able to confront it, so I will be paralyzed or run away because of these moments in my childhood. So when I started working upon it, I started knowing myself, knowing how things work in my mind, and knowing that I am able to control my destiny, to start building my destiny. I'm not in at the mercy of fate. I mean, for me, that was an amazing moment to understand those things. And sometimes the emotion uh, is created by some event. Sometimes the event reinforces that emotion. So by knowing that, I was able to work upon what we call limiting beliefs. And by being able to remove these things, I was, or work upon them because it was not removed, I was able to deal with my emotions in a different way. I mean, fear, anger, uh, loneliness, so many emotions, and so amazing how you can be in control of your life in the sense that you're not going to control what happens outside you, but you have more and more control of what happens inside you. And whenever something appears outside, you're able to deal in a different way from within. And it's amazing.
I mean, Juan, what you've done today is amazing. There's so many people, and I'm sure where you are, that part of the world, especially going through all this. Um, and I feel privileged today to hear you. Honored. No, no, because it's hard. The fact that you've done it all and you've come out, and you've done amazing. You've done amazing. You know, People need to hear this.
Yes.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I'm saying. So can I just say thank you? Okay.
You're welcome.
With my heart, thank you. You're making me really sad, like really well. I'm getting tears of joy. Look, guys, we don't have a long. Myra, your final words. Please don't make me cry.
Okay. I just say to everyone who's listening or who's watching right now, when you are going through, these very hard experiences, when you are experiencing very intense emotions, just pause, give yourself time. When you're experiencing, for instance, anger, pause, make it a habit to pause. Because, by pausing, but by giving yourself time, you will be able to breathe and your perspective on the matter that's upset you will totally change. Or if you're experiencing, a more dense emotion, a slow emotion, like sadness or loneliness, also, you know, pause and give yourself the time to feel the emotion, to know where it's in your body. And when you finally locate it, just hug it, because this type of emotions, they are like children. And when children are upset and you just ignore them, they become louder. So when you acknowledge them and hug them and even give them love, it will change everything for you. So pause and give yourself time, and give yourself time to acknowledge these maybe difficult
Yeah,
parts of
yeah.
yourself.
I think, Myra, you've summed it up beautifully. It all came back down to the article, the art of self-caring, the whole breathing, the breathing techniques, just, looking at yourself from within. Everyone out there, there is a wonderful article in this month. When I say this, February's month, please read it. The Heartfulness Magazine. And yes, it's free, it's online, it's available to everyone. Guys, it's available in Spanish, right?
No,
I'm not sure. I don't
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, but I'm sure that if anyone need help needs translation, they can do that. But can
Yeah.
I take this opportunity, my lovelies, to thank you from the bottom of my heart? And I feel I want to do this again with you
Mhm.
soon. So, but Juan, thank you for sharing. That will really vibrate with me. Yeah, I'm going to put this down and give you a proper so
Mhm.
vibrate with me. And there are people out there. So thank you, thank you. And yes, see you soon.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. And also, see you around. Thank you so much.
see you soon.